Oh, and by the way, Boehner Bronco Buster?
Yeah.
Where the hell did that come from?
Improv.
That was wonderful.
What more can I even say? I can already safely put this match in my top 10 matches of all time, and I don't even need to see it.
I prayed for this and it happened.
So I didn't really plan on doing a review for Dynasty, but Will Ospreay vs. Bryan Danielson was so goddamn spectacular. They kind of didn't give me a choice. It's funny, you know, I don't really know what to say. I'm still at a loss for words, but I just knew that I needed to make a video. I mean, what is there to say? Something monumental has occurred, and I'm prepared to overreact. There have been very few times in my history as a wrestling fan where I watched a match and said to myself, that was one of the greatest matches I've ever seen. I'm usually a bit of a pessimist. Well, no, that's not the right word. Let's just say I like to rewatch something at least once before I make a definitive statement. In the case of Will Ospreay vs. Bryan Danielson, it was top 10 when the bell rang. It was top 5 when Danielson hit an avalanche tiger suplex, and it was number 1 when Ospreay's hand was raised. This match was generational. It was professional wrestling at its absolute finest, and it was the very reason AEW was created. Don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of WWE, and they probably gave me my second favorite match of all time only a month ago, but we would simply never see something like this in a WWE ring. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe wrestlers shouldn't try to kill each other like Ospreay and Danielson just did, but you know what? If they're down, I'm down. Will Ospreay is currently on a run that I don't think we have ever seen before, and I just can't believe that we get to see this guy wrestle on weekly TV. Will Ospreay has arguably been the best wrestler in the world for years, but before joining AEW, us in the US didn't get to see him on a consistent basis. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all, as big of a wrestling fan as I am, I was not watching New Japan consistently. Sure, I would watch your Omega vs Okadas, but for the most part, I was missing out. Now we get to see Will Ospreay wrestle on a fucking Wednesday night, and for that, Tony Khan, I thank you. And what can I even say about Bryan Danielson? We are supposedly in his last year as a full-time wrestler, and he is just as, if not better than ever. Bryan Danielson's idea of heaven is standing in a wrestling ring and bleeding for the fans. Well, my idea of heaven is being one of those fans. Just to give my quick thoughts on Dynasty as a whole, I thought it was a hell of a show. Okada vs Pac was arguably the best pay-per-view opener AEW has ever had, and oh my god, Pac's sell on that DDT, it was glorious. Toni Storm and Thunder Rosa had a genuinely great match, and I feel sort of shitty for saying, I was not expecting that. Like, I know they're both great wrestlers, but I guess Toni's recent work hasn't been all that amazing in ring, so it was nice to see that she is still capable of something like that. The Young Bucks and FTR did the impossible by following Ospreay vs Danielson with a really fun match. Yeah, it was sort of a spot fest, but I feel like they couldn't have any dull moments at the risk of letting the crowd cool down. Plus it was a ladder match, so who really cares if it was just spot after spot. And then, in the main event, Swerve beat Joe for the AEW Championship. I gotta say, I'm happy to be wrong. I really thought Joe retaining was the smart move, but after seeing the reaction for Swerve winning, yeah, that was the right call. I'm super excited to see what's next for Swerve's title reign. Could he face a returning MJF, Christian Cage, Jay White, or maybe even Adam Page? I gotta tell you, I would not mind seeing Swerve vs Hangman again. Either way, Swerve is going to kill it and continue to prove that he is him. Dynasty was the kind of pay-per-view that makes you remember why you are a fan of wrestling. If I ever have any doubts, all I need to do is turn on Ospreay vs Danielson, and my fandom will be restored.